So, last week's episode was all about independence and learning to lean on yourself and feel confident going out and doing things alone, and why, I think it's important to build that muscle and keep using it, keep leaning on yourself, whether it's for making decisions, whether it's for going out and spending time by yourself, just in general, kind of building that relationship with yourself where you are a bit more independent and a little bit more autonomous in the way you live your life so that you aren't kind of waiting around on people and leaning on people too heavily. So, that's what we talked about last week is independence as a whole, just feeling more independent as an individual. But today, I wanted to focus on the solo activities, the solo dates, the spending time alone, going out in public alone, feeling confident doing all of those things, and also enjoying it is a huge part of it. I think it's easy to sometimes think if you don't really spend much time by yourself, or you have maybe once or twice and you haven't really enjoyed it because you wouldn't at the start because it's uncomfortable and new. Not finding your own company boring, I think that's a lot of people's hurdle with it is if you're used to spending time around people all the time and you're kind of bouncing off other people and you're talking to other people and there's kind of that level of instant entertainment because you're interacting with someone else. I think going from that and then doing something by yourself, of course, you might feel a level of there's no one to talk to. What do I look at? What do I think about? This is pointless. I think that's a lot of people's first hurdle. So I think a lot of it is also just about learning to actually enjoy it, because if you fucking hate it and you find it boring, then why would you do it? You wouldn't. So, and I think that the issue isn't that your company is boring, because everyone can enjoy their own company and, in my opinion, should learn to. Um, but it's a process. It's not instant, because obviously, like I said, if you've spent loads of time around people and that's kind of all you know, then of course when you sit by yourself, you're going to be like, this is strange and quiet. It's weirdly quiet. It is. It's unusual if you're not used to it. So I kind of wanted to talk about, gaining confidence to go out and do shit by yourself, but also learning to enjoy it, because that's a huge part of it. But I did want to address that at the start, that I think some people, it is just, okay, sorry, this lighting is really annoying me. A lot of people, they find it boring, or they think that's just I'm just an extrovert and I like to be around people and it's just not for me. I just don't like it. It's not for me. But I completely understand being more extroverted. Of course, you don't need as much alone time. I have people in my life that I'm close to that, can spend time alone and that they enjoy it, but they just don't need much of it. They can spend an evening a week by themselves and then they're now that's I've fulfilled that area of my life. I'm done. I don't need anymore. Whereas I'm someone who needs a lot of alone time, and everyone's different in that department. And that's something I think you kind of have to trial and error, experiment with your social battery. I think I've definitely had to work on that over the last few years. That's kind of been a focus of mine of because I get really burnt out if I socialize too much. And also obviously in your personal life and in your calendar, you have other shit to do. You have to work and you have probably hobbies and family or a relationship or something. And it's very easy to get burnt out also socializing and also seeing friends, and then, you have to find the amount that works for you. Maybe it's you have a couple nights a week by yourself and that's all you need. Maybe you want to see your friends every weekend, but on weeknights you don't want to see anyone. There is no normal. There's no shame in how much social interaction you need, whether it's loads or none. However, I do think everyone should be able to spend time alone and like it. I think it's so beneficial. And I do think the people that say, I don't really need it, I just don't like it, it's boring, I don't want to do it, they might think, this is just my opinion, they might think it doesn't affect anything, it doesn't matter, I'm happy, who cares? But it bleeds into how codependent you are with everyone, how kind of easily swayed you are by people, how easily upset and how sensitive to everything you are, because you almost haven't got that foundation in yourself where you can kind of take other people with a bit of a grain of salt, because you're aware that you're okay. Whereas I think if your life is very much your social life, which is fine, to a degree. But if that's like your life and you can't spend time alone, I think then you fall out with your friends and your whole week's fucked, you know? Or like you have an argument with your boyfriend and you're stressed beyond belief. And I think it's just, I think your emotions get a little bit more heightened and you feel a little bit more on edge almost. You don't have that confidence. I don't know, it's easy to ruin your mood if you can't spend time by yourself, because then you're kind of putting your mood and your happiness in the hands of other people. It can feel like pressure on the people around you. So I don't think it doesn't affect anything. Do you know what I mean? If you do feel like you need to be around people all the time and like you're uncomfortable being by yourself and you can't entertain yourself, and I don't just mean sitting on your phone and like watching TikTok all day. Everyone can do that. That does not count as entertaining yourself. That's just, I'm gonna numb myself for the next like fucking handful of hours until someone's free. That's not having a nice time by yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, occasionally, whatever, but like that, if it's every time you have to like be by yourself, you're on your phone, I don't think that counts. I don't think that counts. Obviously, all of this is in my opinion, but I do think it's a bit more distressing for you when you lean on your friends or your boyfriend or whoever quite hard for fulfillment and entertainment. And if you want to do something fun, they have to be free and they have to do it with you because you can't do any of this stuff yourself. It's quite distressing for you because every move they make affects how you feel all the time. But also, it's just not fun for the other people. Do you know what I mean? It's pressure and it pushes people away after a while, I think, because I've always said this in my podcast, but I think it's attractive. And I don't necessarily mean like romantically, just it's a nice, attractive trait in a friend or in a relationship or just anything for someone to feel more independent and not like they're leaning on you heavily and that they're happy kind of in their own skin. It's nicer to be around people that feel like that. It feels so much more relaxed and less intense than when you're with someone who you can tell that like they can't be by themselves. I don't know. This is not even something I fucking plan to talk about. I don't know how I've got into this. But I guess my point is, if you don't want to do it for you, do it for your friendships and your relationships. Do you know what I mean? It will benefit them. And again, I always say this, it bleeds into every area of your life. Your relationship with yourself is the center of absolutely everything in your life. And I think that's just a lesson that I relearn and relearn, like, because obviously there's ebbs and flows with that and how happy you are in yourself and how if you feel shit or whatever, like you can really see how if like I see it in myself. If I'm feeling really shit or I'm out of like my good habits or I'm really tired or run down or whatever, I can feel myself get more anxious in terms of like my relationships and my friendships, and like I'm more irritable. I'm more like your brain just like sees everything differently. Start thinking like maybe they're not actually that much of a good friend, blah blah blah. And it's like, Brooke, you're just tired. Like look after yourself, go to bed, and then you realize that these people are good. Like you're just, it really like it's just like your relationship with yourself, how you treat yourself, how comfortable you are in yourself. All of that is gonna determine the health of the relationships that you have in your life and the quality of them hugely. Anyway, now I've talked about some of the reasons why I think it's important. Today I wanted to talk about some tangible solo dates, solo activities, things you can do alone, how you can build up that confidence to do things in public alone, take yourself out for a drink alone. Like I wanted to talk about some like actual examples, some ways that you can do that. From my experience, some advice, some things I've done, all of the above. But I do think it's important to remember that the reason for doing this is to bring more joy to your life and more options to your life, because once you start enjoying your own company and have it like opening the door, there's so many more like now I can do anything by myself. Like there's so many more opportunities of things to do with your days, ways to spend your time. It's so much less limited when you become kind of friends with yourself in that way. You're like, oh, now I can do anything I want whenever I want. I'm not waiting for people. Okay, so the first kind of tangible solo date activity that I thought is a good idea if very, very like I don't want to say beginner level because that sounds mean, but like you've spent no time alone, you've never taken yourself out, you almost aren't ready to go out in public alone because you're self-conscious about it or whatever. This is very like the easiest baby step. That's probably a nicer way to say it than you're a fucking beginner. And I think this is a good way to start enjoying your own company and to realize that it's not that bad. Okay, so this one is an at-home night in solo date. There's so many fucking options with this one. It is so like you can change every single part of this, but taking something mundane that you do and romanticizing it, whether it's cooking dinner. This is my go-to example because it's so fucking easy to romanticize cooking dinner. Let's use that as an example. Go plan a night. Don't just like do this on a whim. I mean, I do this on a whim all the time, but like we're talking about a solo date here. This is planned. Go on Pinterest, find something you want to cook. Don't care if you're really good at cooking or you're shit at cooking. Find something that looks appetizing that you want to make. Go to the shop, buy some ingredients, buy yourself a nice bottle of wine or whatever you like to drink. You know, maybe get some ice, get some ice cubes, get a lemon to cut up a little slice of lemon if you want to put it in your drink or something. Taking something mundane, making it fun. Maybe you have a particular show or a particular album you want to listen to or a film you want to put on. Bring your laptop down, prop it up somewhere, pour yourself a little drink that you wouldn't normally like do because it takes a while, like, but you would do it if it was a friend round or a boyfriend round. You would then get out a nice bottle of wine, but if it's you, you'd think tap water. Do you know what I mean? Like treating yourself the same way that you would if someone was round. This is easy to do because you don't have to be self-conscious. No one's there. It's like you're just gonna have a nice time, but it's showing you that you can enjoy your own company and you don't need someone to be there to do that. This is kind of building that muscle, I think. But yeah, put on the film, start cooking, have a drink, maybe you're listening to music, maybe you've got the windows in the kitchen open, maybe you lit a candle, maybe you've put on like, this is such a me thing to do, but turn off the main light and put on like the little side lights so it's cozy. Maybe you use a fancy plate instead of like your normal ones. Use the ones you have for company. I love to do that. That's such an easy thing to do where you're just subtly showing yourself that you care about yourself and that you're not treating yourself like the bottom of the barrel. Like it makes a big difference because that kind of thing sinks into your brain. If you always use like the worst stuff or you cook like a microwave meal for yourself, but if like someone's round, you would cook something else. If you do that a lot, you know, you're kind of lazy with yourself, your brain like understands that. You're not stupid. Do you know what I mean? Like your brain will take that and not feel very special. You won't feel very special. You know, it doesn't have to be cooking dinner. Maybe you really hate cooking. Maybe your idea of a treat would be this Friday, all my roommates are out or my family is away. So I'm going to order myself a takeaway from wherever I want. And I'm going to watch that film that I've wanted to watch for ages, but I just haven't put aside time for it. And I'm just gonna sit and eat my pizza and watch my film by myself. That's luxury. Do you know what I mean? That's fucking lovely. Or maybe it's like I'd love to just have the time to sit and read a book for an evening. Just be like, right, gonna make myself a little cocktail, gonna get my book, gonna go sit in the garden and do that for like 2 hours. This to me is the perfect baby step into enjoying your own company, spending time alone, especially if you're not at a place where you feel comfortable enough to go sit in like a restaurant by yourself, because I can understand how that might be daunting. Do you know what I mean? This is a good way like to practice, to build up that muscle, to then get to a place where you're like, I actually have quite a nice time by myself. There's no reason I wouldn't enjoy going out for coffee by myself. Like I can see that as being fun now. And I think a great tip as well for this is to turn your phone on do not disturb while you're doing it, just to make it a little bit more intentional, a little bit more of like a I'm actually busy because I'm doing something with myself right now and like I'm enjoying that. Rather than again like going on your phone every 2 minutes while you're doing it. That's very like, no wonder you don't like your own company because you're not really in it. You're kind of like still avoiding it. And I know a lot of people just have like an addiction to their fucking phone. Like let's be honest, every single person does. You pick up your phone, you don't even know why you've done it half the time. So I think putting it on Do Not Disturb or turning it off, whatever you want to do, is a great little addition to being like, I'm actually gonna not go on this every 2 minutes, and I'm gonna cook this dinner properly. And I'm gonna actually like be in this evening or this activity with myself. Okay, tier 2, amping it up slightly. This is a helpful little trick that I think is a good way, if you've never really gone out by yourself for like a coffee or a drink or something, to do it and not feel like a fucking weirdo if you otherwise would. And that is, make plans to meet someone, whoever you would like to go out for a drink or for food with. Pick the restaurant wherever you're going, like go there 20 minutes before you're meant to meet. So you've got, someone's coming, I'm meeting a friend, I'm not here by myself. Like if anyone asks, which why would anyone fucking ask? But I know that's something that would go through your head. It's like, if it comes up, like, why am I here? Do you know what I mean? You're meeting a friend in 20 minutes. It's not that long. You could have a drink, go to the toilet, and like they'd probably be there. Do you know what I mean? But it's dipping your toe in the, I'm out in public and I'm sat by myself. You've got a drink as well, like you've got something to do. You're not just sat staring at a wall. And also you might begin to enjoy it. If you do that a few times, I think you might start to look forward to like the little bit of peace at the start where you're just sitting having a drink, like chilling. And you can also then get excited to see your friend. Like you could order yourself a little glass of wine, some olives, bring a book and just sit for 20 minutes. Honestly, I think that's genius. Because like, you know, you're meeting someone, it's not that scary. Like they're gonna be there in like 15 minutes. You can just sit there and enjoy it and get a taste of like, this is actually quite nice. Because I think for a lot of people it's like, they don't like the idea of going and doing something by themselves. They don't think they'd like it. But then I think once everyone does it, there's something nice about it. I guarantee you'd love it. And that's a good way to do it where you don't feel so scared, because like, it's so brief before someone else is there and you don't have to do it anymore. Do you know what I mean? But do that a few times. I guarantee they'll hit a point where you're like, I kind of wish no one was coming and I could just stay here and like actually read my book or like write in my journal. Because also you'd learn that like no one gives a fuck. No one looks at you. No one cares. Something that I also notice and like found helpful is when you're out, whether you're like with people or not, look around you and I guarantee there's people by themselves almost every single place you go, whether you're at the beach or you're out at a restaurant or wherever. Like there's people by themselves all the time and you don't notice it because you're with people, and you also don't give a fuck what other people are doing. Like it's just not that interesting. If someone's sat by themselves, who fucking cares? And I think once you start to notice that, you realize when you're the one doing something by yourself, no one else is giving a fuck either, because why would they? They're doing something themselves. Not everything is about you. People aren't that obsessed with you. Do you know what I mean? Like, no one's looking, no one's thinking anything. And if anything, when I'm at the beach and there's like other girls like lying down with their AirPods in, sunbathing, reading a book, I'm like, what a fucking lovely day they must be having. That's so peaceful. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, that looks amazing. That looks so relaxing. I'm not looking at anyone and then thinking, oh my God, loser probably has no friends. Generally, the people that go out and do things by themselves are the people that they're choosing to spend time by themselves because they like it. It's not because they don't have friends. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that's even something people think, but like, I feel like in school and like when you're younger, it's like there's an association with like being a loner means like no one wants to be around you and that's why you're by yourself at lunch or something. But I think you kind of grow up and realize the people that do shit by themselves are the people that choose to do shit by themselves. It's not because there's no option. It's because that's fucking enjoyable. It's relaxing and it's an amazing thing to do. It's so nice. But I think as well as the meet your friends a bit early tip, piece of advice, I think in this kind of territory is also the classic hot girl walk. This is also a way to spend time alone that's really not daunting at all, and I think is like very easy and almost everyone would be comfortable doing this, is just put in your headphones and go for a walk. Walk your dog or walk by yourself to get a coffee and walk home. The classic hot girl walk. Just take yourself out, listen to music, listen to a podcast and go for a walk. This is a classic. If you've got free time and you want to just do something, go for a walk. It's just like, it's an easy way to go and spend some time by yourself. And again, if you're self-conscious, no one knows where you're fucking walking. You could be walking to meet your friends. I think I'm saying that because I think a lot of people's hurdle is like, what are people going to think I'm doing when I'm by myself? The answer is nothing. No one cares. But if it puts your mind at ease, no one knows where you're walking. So maybe you could be walking to meet all your friends. Like, who knows? Yeah, the classic walk. I would suggest sometimes going for a podcast over music, just because I think it makes you a little bit more present and it kind of works your brain a little bit. Like, I love music and there's nothing wrong with listening to music, but sometimes it's nice to mix it up and listen to something, expand the mind, learn something new, or listen to something funny. Some podcasts are just fucking funny. Okay, tier 3. Next one up. So the first one is staying at home doing something nice by yourself. Second one is meet your friends a bit early or go for a walk. I feel like they're in the same territory. Third, go out for a drink by yourself. Go out for a coffee by yourself. Go for a glass of wine, bring a book. Go for a coffee, bring a book. Bring a journal. You could bring your laptop if you want to like study or something. I guess that's kind of like a solo activity, but it's also like, it's not based around going and doing something nice by yourself. It's based around getting work done. So it kind of depends what your like intention is. I think if your solo date is like a study date, still do something like nice for yourself, like order something nice. Do you know what I mean? Go out and study and order like a slice of cake with it. Do you know what I mean? Make it so it's like a little bit cute. I think a lot of showing yourself that you love yourself and building a relationship with yourself and enjoying your own company is just tiny little actions, like going the slight extra mile. But I feel like generally that is the key for me anyway. A lot of the time, regularly, if I'm out doing something by myself, the way that I'll make it a little bit less mundane is I'll just treat myself slightly. Or like, say you're just doing like your weekly shop. Maybe on the drive home, go through the drive-through, get yourself like a little matcha and like a little cake pop from Starbucks. Do you know what I mean? Like, just something. It doesn't have to cost you money. Like, you could also just like, maybe you drive home the scenic route instead of the fastest way, just because you can put your windows down, listen to some music, have like 10 minutes longer just enjoying your life. A lot of the time it's just tiny things like that. It's not, oh, I need to go out and take myself out for like a 3-course dinner. It's just like little tiny details that make you feel a little bit more like special. I don't know. But yeah, some examples in this territory that I thought are really nice things to do by yourself. I wrote down glass of wine and read, or bring a journal. You can write. That's something really nice to do. Go swimming at either the beach or like a local hotel. That's also something I like to do. If there's like a spa or a hotel, sometimes you can just pay for, like, instead of like booking a massage and a treatment, which by the way is also a lovely thing to do by yourself, but that's a bit more expensive. Like where I live, there's like spas and stuff where you can just pay like £10 and you can go in the pool for the day. Like, I'm not getting any fucking treatments, but I'll do that. I'll go to like a nice pool, I'll swim, I'll go in the hot tub, and then like maybe at the restaurant I'll go and get like something to eat or like a drink and then go home. And it's just like, it's just a cute thing to do, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So that's an example. Or takeaway pizza, glass of wine, sit on the beach. That's a cute thing to do. Treat yourself to dinner, bring a book, or you could download a film. Or you could eat it in your car, park somewhere pretty. That's cute. Or recently I've been taking like my book to go have like a little picnic or sit just like in a field, like by a tree, just read my book, sit in peace. It's just relaxing. Be in nature. Um, and another thing I wrote, I kind of couldn't decide whether this is something that I think is easier or harder, but take yourself to a different town, like a local town, maybe like the next one over, rather than yours. Do you know what I mean? Get the train or drive, whatever. Give yourself a change of scene. Go get lunch somewhere that isn't in your town. Sometimes you only have to drive like 20 minutes and you're just out of your comfort zone slightly. You're not going to see everyone you know. And I think that's why potentially I was like, is it easier? Because you're going somewhere where it's not people you know. You might live in a city and you might not have this issue anyway. But getting a change of scene is huge. Getting out of your comfort zone by yourself is huge. I love to do that. Do something that's a little bit like, I don't really know where I am. Like, this is obviously like slightly more daunting, but like going somewhere where it's just like a new experience, but doing it with yourself is really bonding thing with yourself, where you like build memories with yourself and you're like, oh my God, remember when I did that? It was funny. Or like, I don't know. It's just nice to not always do those things with people. But obviously this, I don't know if this belongs in this tier or not, but I don't know, take yourself to the town over and like get a coffee and go somewhere a bit different. A little day trip to somewhere that you maybe wouldn't have normally gone, haven't been. Again, it's just taking that like extra mile of something you wouldn't normally bother to do if you were by yourself, but choosing to actually bother to do it and like treat yourself. If you've got the day off, maybe sometimes instead of jumping to who's free, who can I see, just think like, what fun thing would I actually like to do by myself? Like, crazy thought. Why don't I do something by myself? Because it's addicting as fuck. Like, it hits a point where I'm like, oh my God, I never want to make a plan with anyone ever again because I have so much fun by myself. I'm at that point, so you will also get to that point where I look forward to my time alone so much. I love it. Like, most of my week is time alone. And again, like I said, I am quite introverted, so you don't have to also be that way. Okay, and tier 4, this is the last tier. These are some more tangible solo dates, solo activities that I love doing that I would recommend to a friend. There's honestly not many things I wrote in this, but get an Airbnb in a new city for a night or a new town. That is so fucking fun. Get an Airbnb or book a hotel for yourself. Somewhere that like you haven't been, somewhere that you want to go. Maybe you have like a weekend of work where you haven't got any plans. Fuck it. Like book book a hotel or like little Airbnb somewhere. They don't have to be expensive. Again, like if you don't want to pay for this, that's different. Like you could also like do something fun like sleep in a different room in your house. Like that's also something I've done, like sleep in the lounge or the front room or the whatever you call it, on the sofa down like with the big TV, like just a change of scene because it's fun. You could do that, but this one, I think it's so fun to, you know, get the train somewhere new, book a hotel for the night, and like then you can like take yourself out for dinner, you can explore, you're just like building memories with yourself, and it's so fucking fun and so relaxing. It's such a detoxing thing to do, is take yourself away for a night or two. Obviously you could also go on holiday by yourself. I'm aware that might be tier like 10, but that's fucking amazing too. Solo travel, oh my God, don't even get me started. It's so fun. I love going away by myself. I also love going away with people. There's time to do both. Do you know what I mean? You can do both. Like, you can have good friends that want to go away and be in a relationship and still love to do shit by yourself. And I think, again, it's a good thing. But make sure you're picking things that you actually want to do and you actually look forward to, and not stuff that you find boring. Make sure you do that. Because I think, like I said, people that sometimes think my own company is boring is because they're picking activities that are boring to them and just doing them by themselves. And I'm like, you'd find that boring even with someone probably. Like, do something fun and then you might like it. Do you know what I mean? But honestly, every single time that you do something a little bit braver by yourself, you feel so beyond proud of yourself. And I do think I honestly accredit so much of my confidence and my independence to going out of my comfort zone when it comes to doing things by myself. I'm proving to myself that I can do it and I like doing it. And like, I don't know, it's just like a fun little challenge sometimes. And it's like, I don't know, it makes me feel very proud of myself when I do something a little bit new by myself. I love it. It's so fun. And it just makes you so much more of a confident person. It like honestly bleeds into your entire personality. And you will feel like if you can go spend a day by yourself or take yourself somewhere new or go out for dinner, all of these things, I just think you hold yourself differently when you realize that you can do shit like that alone. It really like, it changes everything. I don't know. But yeah, hopefully this episode was helpful, gave you some ideas. I can always do a part 2 if anyone wants me to talk about anything else in this realm of independence, solo dates, confidence, self-love. I did a mini like self-love series a few months ago about building kind of just a better relationship with yourself and in like treating yourself properly. There's only 2 parts to it, but I did that a while ago. I can put that in the description, the links to that if you want them. But yeah, hopefully this gave you some ideas and was helpful. I hope that you go on some nice solo dates, treat yourself, it keeps life fun, And yeah, thank you for listening, and I will talk to you next week.